You can analyze it after our presentation. It's conclusion. We discussed 2 days, and you will get now some bullets.
First of all, we try to get the biggest, like what scope of the survey are we gonna have here. So we conducted some interviews with some key personnel within the purchasing organization from different departments, and try to find the right scope of the questions and try to form them as they depending on the current situation and so on. And for that, when we got a draft, then we had Martin at SciFi and our mentors to help us get some feedback for the question before we send it out. And of course, we had the communications hub as a like support with the tools for the actual survey.
We drafted the survey in English, and then we got it translated into Russian, Finnish, Swedish, and then we had it proofed to make sure we didn't get anything lost in translation, so we just checked it. We figured this was a good strategy so that, as I think Hans said, that some people in English, they would respond. So we wanted to get a good database.
Yeah.
The framework of it, we wanted to get a snapshot of current situation, where procurement is. And then we wanted to get a snapshot also of the current level of knowledge with VDC. And then we put the carrot out, what if you had other tools like the VDC tools? What do you think? How do you think procurement would, the procurement process would improve?
And we get more than 200 responses from different BU and from different countries, from all people who is most related to purchasing. Project managers, design managers, construction managers, manager for purchasing, and purchasing specialists.
And first of all, we have the current situation. 62% stated that they don't really use BIM in procurement right now. 79% said that the current purchasing process could be improved while using VDC tools. And most interesting is that 73% said that they're not sharing information in a structured way within or between projects. And I think somebody was, but a lot of percent said that they could just share information verbally instead of having like a common database sharing information.
We took sort of the 4 categories from quality, quantity, cost, and schedule. And we asked them to rank 1 the best and 1 the worst. Cost control, I wasn't surprised by this. Cost control came out at 62%, and I think that's linked to the 77% figure on the far right there. The question was worded non-client initiated change orders. So these are change orders that come out of NCC's pocket because of lack of information. There's a number of reasons. We seem to be doing okay with our schedules. So
yes, why it happens? More than 30% people related to purchasing don't know about the VDC at all. More than 40% don't use BIM in projects at all. And 56% don't participate in Project Studio. And more than 46% don't invite it to Project Studio for purchasing project. It's amazing, you can imagine.
well, we got some positive news about VDC. I think the VDC catchphrase it floats around NCC, and I remember in one of the interviews we had with one of the department managers, we asked him, do you know what VDC is? And it's BIM. No, it's not. It's a way of working, as we all know. But out of the 200 approximately respondents, 87% of them want to learn more about VDC, what it really means. Somehow they think that it's going to help a lot. And then the 81 down on the end there, if we give them a what if we had a fully coordinated design package? Do they think it would improve the procurement process? And well, 81% agreed that it would. So from the limited knowledge that's out there and the desire to learn, I think that's the way forward, is getting procurement involved in the early stages. As an example of finished design, during design from procurement's perspective. The procurement department, in my experience, that since I've been here, has been a really stressful department, especially on some of the larger, and it's a health and safety issue because they get stressed out and then there's downtime. So it saves time, category purchases, we solve all the issues in design, all clashes, all health and safety issues, less change orders. I know in the projects that I've been involved, we always have this line called risk, and it's usually a pretty big number, 2% to 4%, and then we have details because there's stuff we don't know. So I think we can at least save half of that risk money and get lower costs, reduce our risk, and we can be more competitive for our clients. So it's a win for us and a win for the client because they get a building for less cost.
Yeah. Just imagine, for example, HVAC system. It's like in car industry. You have 1,000 elements, feeds, pipes, equipment, a lot of different suppliers and production companies. And we take one example about shaft or prefabricated bathroom, for example. We start to discuss how we can improve this 3 years ago. And in design phase here, we start to think about cost, suppliers, how it have to be matched each other, how it will be and where it will be manufactured, what is the price logistic and produce locally or abroad, what it will be for construction site, and how much time we can save during production if we will just assemble these elements. And also think what it will be for clients and for maintenance and guarantee. And only when we finish this during 2 years and create platform for this, only after that we start 1 year ago to produce this, design, and make in all projects.
And then we have the sharing of the information. I mean, knowledge, we have a lot of knowledge within SSE, within all the departments and so on. And it's very important that we have a database sharing information within that. And Jonas, where are you? There. Do you remember yesterday when Darren threw some numbers at you?
Day before.
Day before yesterday.
No.
Well, I asked you a question. You know how much in a couple of years ago we spent on outsourcing quantity takeoffs? Do you remember what my answer was? And you said no. Your answer first. It's 5 to 6 million in our department. So there's an example.
Yeah, and as I said, we really need a database for it because it's easy to forget things, and personnel leaving SSE, and personnel changing departments and so on. So we need the information at one spot so we can really share within the organization.
Training. Well, there's an overwhelming response that we need to improve our procurement methods. And I think the key to this is doing it the VDC way. there's a keen interest in learning more about it, and I think the more we get people in the same boat and pulling in the same direction, I think the results will appear naturally. And then one database, a database for sharing lessons learned. I mean, NCC is full of bright people, experienced, and as Per said, we lose it. So we can come up with a strategy to make this transparent throughout all NCC in each of the countries.
And we need additional support doing that.
Also for purchasing, we recognize that we don't measure so much our progress on purchasing and how we develop this. We need to organize the metrics and measure and follow up how we improve this.
And to use for integration, use Project Studio between or to co-locate every people involved in the project to get there, and have the project manager to take the purchasing specialist or into the project value in the project.
And also, we want to stress that we have a lot of pilot projects and 40% don't use a BIM, but another 60 use somehow, yes? And we think that it's time to decide minimum level of VDC and decide that all 100% projects have to use these minimum levels. And what it will give? We will lift it up our common company culture to another level. Please, question.
Can I start?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, thank you again for a very, very good presentation. As head of purchasing in NCC, I think this is really spot on. We start off with the current situation. The figures more or less confirms the figures we have mentioned last year, or continuously follow around. And we take a strategic decision to coordinate more, so much more share experience. You also described the purchasing process very, very well. Right product, right price, right time, also right place. You could add that. And VDC is a strong enabler to do that, especially, and it's 80% about the early stages, early involvement included in the VDC process. That will improve super much. But also in the other end, it's also improving to enable logistics. There's also huge potential. So very good presentation, and with your approval, I would like to use this in my work. To guys that it's spot on.
Yeah, I mean, we had like.
Oh, sorry. And also, I would like to say that the recommendations also, metrics, we have actually started to measure progress. At least on some kind of high level, but we need to do more of that. Involvement with projects, yes, we will take that any day.
You can use our presentation if I can get into what kind of metrics you're using, because I think it's really important. Because the procurement department.
We have a couple of positions taken.
But I mean, as we
So
said,
I gladly take a discussion.
Yeah.
Later on. Absolutely.
as we said before, we had like over 300 slides of just raw data from our survey. So we tried to pick up the things that we really thought was good.
Yeah.
And then we can filter it out so we can see all throughout the Nordic countries, how they responded to all the questions, yes or no, and so on. So it's pretty good data that we have.
And project managers and how the project managers respond, for example, in various countries. You can filter it 12 different ways. It's good.
I would like to say something. I think, looking into this, we have been working with purchasing for 50 years or more, probably more, and seeing this number is how much of improved still. I really hope that VDC is key to help us really because we have tried a lot, and I think this could be very good. You asked for that we should do it in every project.
Yes.
And I'm not sure that we are able to do it in any project yet, but I have, when I was head of construction Denmark, said that 90% of every turnkey project should be done by VDC, and that they see of VDC or more than that, because I would like the full scale every time, but it's not always possible. But I think one of the issues is it has to be a design and build project where we are early involved, then we should use it 100%. I'm pretty sure of that. And I also think that it will help purchasing a lot to put this in. And then I think there is one thing that you all share is this enriched model or database where we can have all the information gathered so we can use it again. And that's an issue we have to bring back to the group to figure out how can we establish such a database. So because we're trying to work with it also, we call it the building heart database, and we're discussing it in the management team. We'll have to find a way to find this enriched model where we can actually gain all this information back and only put them in once.
We believe that about 5% of our construction costs is change orders. And if we will implement this in purchasing, VDC methods and projects, we will cut maybe twice, and it will be 2.5% extra profit as a total to the project. And it's huge money. Rather, it's maybe plus 50 or 100% extra profit, not 25.
Could you put it on
I think it's enough ambitious and
There's a lot of
realistic.
opportunities here. The only problem with that is all our competitors are doing the same, so you might not gain all of it.
But we have to,
We have
if
to do
we will know.
we have to do the first.
But I think also you put the finger on, I think Peter catch that, that it is very much about behavior also. I think what you are seeing here, that the knowledge of the people doing our purchasing and procurement has to be in this area also. They have to really know what you can do with these tools. So of course, and I fully agree with Klaus that we have to gather our information and get our models in place. But I think it's very much also over behavior and competence level that has to be increased in all levels. And especially that I'm working with, because we are not working, we have another mindset when it comes to purchasing that has to be changed when we have these tools.
And I see as a part of the civil department now, when we're calculating tenders on bypass Stockholm, for instance. I mean, we have adopted like the product studio as a big part of how we do it, and then invited the purchasing unit from the very beginning, and then they can be a part of choosing materials and optimizing something. So I mean, 2 years ago, they didn't really work that way. And then now when we started up with bypass Stockholm, we really took an effort to like focus on that and have the product studio as a central spot for the meeting and communicating everything from designers to purchasers and everything. So, and that has really been successful for us, I think, in these projects. So, yeah.
Just to add on some specific to that, because we are basically having to do the purchasing project by project. but they don't get any effect on at the momentum. This would super much help us to multiply. But also we have to take some efficiencies that we want them on. That means there's no to a lot of suppliers and no to a lot of other options. It's a lot of
What's why people in the center?
Very good.
Very good.
I want to give a short reflection on what all I've heard today. It's very, very inspiring, all these presentations. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm Eric Nedell. I work with marketing and business development in the civil engineering department, or the civil engineering division, I should say. Earlier marketing manager at Construction Sweden. And I work up in the morning and go to work obsessed by the strategy of being the customer's first choice. That's my obsession at work. And I want to share actually a business success story where NCC's strategy and NCC's focus on VDC, and especially the ambition, the collaboration we had with SciFi, how that had led us to a very successful project, and that is the Facebook project that we performed a couple of years ago. And it actually it started out with me getting an email from Invest Sweden saying there's an American IT company coming to Sweden. They are making a mega-sized data center investment in Europe, possibly Sweden. We don't know which location. You want to come and present your company? And he said, 30 seconds later, I answered, of course. And Svante and I went there a couple of weeks later, and we made a presentation who we are, and we were sort of scratching our heads, who are these guys and what do they want?
We met a guy drinking a lot of Coca-Cola.
One of them was drinking a lot of Coca-Cola, and then his name was Mr. Tom, and then he had a colleague, Mr. Tim, and then another colleague, Mr. J, and it was all the first names, and it was all sort of secretive. And that's how it started. 6 months later down the line, we figured out it was Facebook. For a long time we thought it was Google or Microsoft, but we also sort of started understanding what is the scope in this project. What are the key success factors in getting the project and performing the project? And then we actually got really scared, because the business risk at building a mega-size, worldwide state-of-the-art data center for a client that you know on the software interface who they are, but we had no clue who they were as a client to cope with, dealing with. We didn't even know if they had any money to pay us with, because they were privately owned and a venture capitalist-owned company at the time. That was before they went on the stock market. So we really scratched our heads and said, are we going to put this to the side and say, okay, I don't want to put my neck on the line to say that, yeah, we're going to succeed in the end, making a happy client and coming out with a bunch of money in the end. It was huge risks from the basic knowledge. Then the phone rang, and it was Eric Lamb from GPR Construction, a Silicon Valley-based construction company focusing on high-tech buildings. And why did he call us? Because we had a collaboration we met at SciFi. And we've been talking in our strategy for many years about being the reference company in selected areas. And VDC has been for many years a selected area where we want to be a reference company. That's the reason we were engaged in SciFi. And a mutual respect and interest grew between DPR and NCC. And Eric Lamb called us. Why did he call us? Yes, because they were focusing on these high-tech buildings. They were building the first data center for Facebook with this design in Prineville, Oregon. And they were just starting up the second building in Forest City in North Carolina. And they were the trusted advisor helping Facebook to select which place and where to build and how to build, what contract and etc., business models, etc. They were the trusted advisors, and they called us. How can we work together? And then we said, from just putting this project to the side, it became top of mind. This is something we're going to go for. We met. We made it. It's a long story. I can talk for hours about this, but we made a 50-50 joint venture, and their knowledge in the client, their knowledge of the product, and their knowledge and the mutual platform that the trust was built on was the respect and the sharing of the knowledge of VDC between DPR and NCC. So what I'm telling you guys is you are our ambassadors for VDC on the market, internally and also externally. So please join me in being obsessed of being the customer's first choice and show the customers that we are a trustworthy company to work with. And that is the basis. We were talking about moving up in the value chain, Svante. I think it was you who mentioned it. I think you both agree on that, so I don't argue about that part. And that has to do with trust. And if we can show that we have the abilities, they will let us in earlier in the phase. And I've seen it 100 or 1,000,000 times, this curve about how we influence the cost. And that the influence of the cost, it's in a very early stage. We want to get in earlier into the project. And that has to do with trust. The customer has to trust us on that and understand that. You guys are important ambassadors to gaining that trust to our customers. So that's good luck and keep up the good work.
Thank you to all the groups. Klaus and Svante, maybe you can reflect briefly on, I mean, you've made already quite a few comments on what will happen with what they presented, but maybe a few concluding remarks. I think
Okay.
if that's okay, and then we will have a short ceremony where all participants will receive the certificate.